Hey guys, thanks for listening. We had to do one small edit to the episode. As you guys hear, I'm gonna say that the podcast is named "Please Make This." Turns out it's not anymore. It is "Make This Happen." Thanks for listening, guys, and hope you enjoy. Hi there. Thanks for tuning in to Please Make This, where we discuss an idea we've been dying to see come alive. Every week, my friend Jay Yee and myself, Alex Gonzalez, will bring you a podcast you never knew you needed. So, how you doing today, Jay? Because I didn't let you say hello.
Yeah, I guess that's something that we should add next time.
I'm gonna do a pregnant pause.
Okay, cool. I'm doing all right, Alex. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Now let's get started with this week's pitch. So I discussed this with you, and do you remember what universe I said this was going to be in?
Oh shoot, no, I don't.
That laugh. All right. So I said this was going to be in the Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, cool. I'm down for this.
So what I want to do is, after you beat the game, I want there to be a farming sim where basically you're going to be playing almost like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing, but with all of your gang members and everybody, or basically a new town. In fact, fuck those guys. It's going to be a new town where maybe you go and you retire and you're starting to live in a new city. It's an existing city, but like a little settlement off. And then you're doing all the same things you did for your camp. You're collecting the hay. You're leading the horses to water. You're going to hunt, but I haven't finished Red Dead Redemption. Is that what you do?
No.
At the end? Okay.
Continue.
Thank God. So I want you to do all that, not only taming horses, but I want this to be a little open-ended where you decide what you want to do. If you want to be a fur trader, you can be a fur trader. If you want to sell horses and be a breeder, you can do that. If you want to collect weapons, you can do that. Or you can be a fence if you want. And I think then you could kind of create something with the city. You can maybe even become a sheriff if it gets that high. And then it's a little farming sim where you have a little town, you can make your own homestead, and then you can produce with that city, and there would be different cutscenes with those characters.
Interesting.
And side quests.
So you kind of want a Red Dead Online game that's single player and with the story and like cutscenes and stuff like that.
And then I think it would be cool if you could even expand it where it would be online, but then everyone would have to choose their role, but it would be an offshoot of this main game.
Okay.
Where it would be like a day-to-day life of Red Dead, where you just live in that life without having to be an outlaw.
Yeah,
you can be an honest citizen.
So it pretty much, Red Dead Online has aspects of this where you could be a moonshiner, you could be a bounty hunter, or you could be a shopkeeper, right?
Yeah.
So what I imagine this to be like, it's like, yeah, you start the game, you buy this new $60 game from Rockstar, right? And you just boot it up, and then instead of being like a cool cowboy outlaw, you're just a farmhand, and you're just working at this farm. And then I guess your farm owner dies, and he gave everything to you because he loved you like a son.
So
right?
What I imagine is in this universe, Red Dead Redemption exists very much so. And people are like, oh man, I invested all that time into Red Dead. And I'm like, hey bro, there's a little $20 edition right here where it uses all of the assets built up, but it makes it so you can live in this world as long as you want. And there's a bunch of unique content here that you can play with, and you can make your own life.
Yeah.
But you don't have to kill anybody. You don't have to do any ransoms. You can kind of just live in this world.
Yeah. I see this more as like a $40, $50 game just because it's Rockstar and it's a Red Dead game, you know? Especially Red Dead 2, just because it's so big. But I like it. Like maybe like you said, you can it's like Stardew Valley where you can kind of choose what you want to do. You could either be a rancher, you could go farm, you got to do like small menial tasks around your farm every day.
I think it would be cool if it incorporated into the world your friends and what they're doing. So if your friend becomes a shopkeeper, you'll have them and their character transferred over in there. And then it'll do small aspects like that. Like let's say on Tuesday they sold salted meats and tobacco. You would see that come in, and that's what that shopkeeper's selling. Just like little online aspects like that.
Kind of like how Last of Us did it with the Facebook
Yeah,
connection. It's
exactly.
not like they're in your game, but like if you're on your friends list, they're also playing this game and they happen to sell something at the store, it will show up in the store in your game if you connect.
Yeah,
to
I
your
think,
friends or something.
and this way it would be a lot of fun too, because it would kind of round out that cultural phenomenon. Now, I got this idea because Grand Theft Auto is really good at letting you do whatever you want to do. There's a lot of people who play Grand Theft Auto and they only just drive around. They just want to drive around Los Angeles and see what that's like. Well, there's this huge map and all of these assets. And I'm just saying, use it. Like they do. Don't get me wrong, but they need to use more because that world's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm thinking this would come in, because there would be other people, I think, like my girlfriend, who would want to be in that world alongside me. So I can be like, oh yeah, did you check this out? Did you know about that? And it would allow more people to access.
Do you want it to be more like
universe.
Animal Crossing then, where you and your girlfriend could be in the same city?
That'd be
and,
cool
like,
if we could be part of the same settlement. Yeah, if there's different profiles, that would be interesting.
Start like new profiles in the same growing city.
Oh, dude, how big would that be? This is what I'm talking about. How big would that be if Red Dead Redemption copied some Animal Crossing techniques? Wouldn't you be like, what?
I think what it would have to be is that we pick. I don't think it could be the whole Red Dead map. Like you have to pick like.
No, it would be a
Valentine,
shortened.
and then like the surrounding area. So you could choose, if you wanted to be a hunter, you could choose to go out and hunt. If you wanted to be a farmer, you could go to town, buy some seeds, go back, sow them, and all that stuff. And there's a moment in the end of Red Dead that I could definitely see how that part would work, like sowing the seeds and stuff, like how you would do the gameplay for that. I don't want to spoil Red Dead for you, but at the end there's a sequence that happens where you're building up to something and you're just doing like small little quick time events, and then that could be like, I'm going to sow these seeds, how many do you want to plant? 10. And then it would be like a short sequence where you just press a couple buttons and then your character will do it.
And in this universe, everything's so deliberate that I think becoming a farmer, becoming a shopkeeper, and you know, I think Red Dead would have all the bells and whistles. So as a shopkeeper, you would sit there and sweep the front of your shop, and that would increase its likelihood of people coming in and shopping there. So just like how you can clean your horses, just like how you can feed them, just like how you can add more hay in different spots, I think this would increase that and be a really cathartic game to play.
Okay, I think I get a general idea of how the game works. Let's talk about how the game is going to play out. So my imagination on how this is going to work is at the start of the game, like I said, maybe you happen, it's going to be like Harvest Moon. You happened upon a land and it's shit land. Like there's rocks everywhere, there's trees growing here, there's a fucking broken down wagon on your field that you can't move until you get certain things. So
there's like a creek and there's like a dead body floating, like hitting the shore. So it's just like you're getting in there.
The first, like, let's say like 5 hours, it's literally you cleaning up your farm and planting such small amounts of stuff for you to sell and to make more money. And as you get more and more money, maybe you could hire your first farmhand, and then you could hire your first I don't know, farmer, or like
and then you can go from there. And then if you have your first farmhand, first farmer, you get your first like livestock, and you can either make it a workhorse or you can make it like a cow, and you can create start making ingredients.
And you could start hiring ranchers, and you could start hiring all this stuff. And at first, maybe what it is that you physically have to take all your produce, go to the nearby town. This in Red Dead, this is like a 7-minute ordeal, packing everything up and then going into town, driving there literally, and then start selling it.
Packing up your wagon, putting it in,
and selling it at like the local farmer market in town, right? And let's say it's Valentine.
And the farmer market happens during the morning. You have to get over there, which means you have to get up at the crack of dawn and head out.
And then maybe eventually, like you said, you could either buy a store that's for sale or a plot of land that's for sale in Valentine, right? And you could build up your store and you can make it whatever you have to choose between certain things. Like, do you want it to be a general store, a vegetable store, or grocery store, or like a meat butcher shop. You know what I mean? Like you have to choose,
Yeah.
but you could open one up and then eventually you can open multiple up. But you start off with one store, then you start off with multiple stores, and then eventually you'll have this huge thing going on. And like you said, maybe you could start becoming sheriff. And maybe late game, there's going to be some combat, and even mid game where you have to like fend off wolves or like critters that are like eating your harvest and stuff. You got to like scare them off. Maybe there could be some events like that. And then eventually, if you do become sheriff and your farm at this point is just self-efficient, maybe from then on, I don't know, the game is fighting off outlaws.
I think then you could get into more stuff where it's like you start like if it gets to the end game like that, there will be side quests where you get into market squabbles if you like have a big farm and there's another farm where they're sending over people or dropping like animals into your farm. So you have to like defend against that and confront them and decide what to do from there. And it doesn't have to be violent. None of this has to involve shooting of Red Dead, but it can.
Yeah.
Or it can just involve lasso work or just talking.
Or just shooting up in the air to scare people off or something.
Yeah.
I like it. Maybe also because I'm scared of at a certain point, if you get to the end game, it's gonna be like it's gonna kind of teeter off. So maybe what you could do, you start off in Valentine, and then eventually your character's like, you know what? Everything's kind of running itself, and I'm making income. I'm gonna take all my savings, sell my land, sell my stores, and buy a new farm by like Saint Denis. You know what I mean? A bigger city.
Oh, yeah,
hard to make money. Different animals around. And maybe you could fast travel between the two of your cities just so you could like get some animals here and get some animals there. Maybe you could keep something over in Valentine. You know what I mean? Like move to a bigger city.
Yeah,
where it's
you
harder
just
to do it.
naturally start getting up there.
Yeah.
All right. So would you want to eventually get this to where it basically gets to a city part, or where like, or do you want just to keep expanding and then we'll just keep having different farms that build up and then it's like different supply lines?
Ooh, and then it starts becoming kind of like a trading simulator where you got to like plan your routes and make sure they're not being hassled by bandits.
It's all very natural. Exactly. Bandits. And then you can have different,
the closer and closer
guards
you get to
help
Armadillo,
with that.
you have to fight against I forget what they're called in Red Dead 2, but there's like you didn't get this far, but there's Native Americans that are like super violent and they will like attack traders and stuff that go through their path. And so, yeah, maybe what we'll do is you'll start in Valentine because everyone starts in Valentine in Red Dead 2. And then you'll slowly start getting into the Valentine City. And then you'll slowly get other farms all around the Red Dead map. And then you'll become one of the biggest rancher, whatever you want to do in the entire Red Dead map, right? So eventually you'll have all these things, and the very last place that you could start building your farm is near Saint Denis, which is the city, and that's like the hardest place to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then if you make it there, we'll just show something where maybe there'll be a bunch of newspapers where it shows like your empire and then you becoming a big name. And then it shows like maybe into the future, something that you take over, you know, the next logical step, which is plants, or you have the biggest farm, or now you have a brand of product in most stores, you know, and it goes from there.
Yeah.
Like all this, like you're basically like Planters Peanuts or Sara Lee. Like you become one of those names where everybody knows you.
What do you think about this game taking place a little bit before Red Dead 2? Like right before Red Dead 2 starts to kick off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
so it's still in the frontier.
That'll also, because it's Red Dead or it's Rockstar, they would probably want to add some story elements to this. They wouldn't want to just make a simulator, you know what I mean?
And what's great about them is they're very good at making story out of everyday moments.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's violence and crime, but it's all the stuff in between that makes it fun.
Yeah. So I think what they would do is, because it takes place before Red Dead 2, you'll see the Dutch van der Linde gang from time to time, like in your travels. And you'll see like people you're familiar with if you played Red Dead 2 and Red Dead 1. You'll like see all these characters that you know.
And for the first time, a lot of the characters that would only say a couple of lines to you will actually have deeper dialogue as you get to know them and become part of their world.
Right. Like you're talking more so to the people in the town, not really the bandits that live outside of it.
Exactly. All right. I think we have a full product here. What do you think about the Red Dead Redemption farming sim here?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. That stuff that you do in Red Dead, like helping your camp, eventually I was like, you know what? I'm here to enjoy the game. I don't want to spend 20 minutes feeding the horses in my camp. So I got over it because it just took so long. And same thing that goes for Red Dead Online and same thing that goes for GTA Online. The beginning is kind of like this. It's slow going. You make money so slowly. It's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to do this. So I never got into Red Dead Online. I never got into GTA 5 Online. Just because you...
But then it ramps up and it's all worth it.
And then when it ramps up, yeah, it's a lot of fun. You have all this money coming in from all over the place. But you have to get to that point. But until... Especially in Red Dead, when you're selling steaks for like $1... You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and a farm costs like what? I don't know how much farms cost in Red Dead, but I'm assuming they'll cost like, I don't know, $1,000, right?
But you know, you sell some steaks, you get a cow, you make some cheese, you go from there.
Man, and cheese is like 30 cents or something. Oh, you know how long that would take?
For me, I'd enjoy it. I like the little things. Sometimes I like if I have a hellish day, I won't even like want to do anything violent or do anything exciting. I'm just like, the world makes sense here. I'm going to move this hay over here. Everyone gets nice water. Hey guys, guess what's going in the stew? I got some premium stuff. That's right. Everybody eating good tonight. And with that being said, Rockstar, please make this. Thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions or products you'd like to see talked about, feel free to write in at @poundgames@gmail.com. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to join the @Pound family, come find us at patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Patrons receive episodes 2 days early. If you enjoyed our show, take a second to give us a review. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Store, and more, eventually. Catch you guys next week. I'm Alexander Gonzalez.
And I'm J.E.
And we'll see you on the next episode of Please Make This.